good evening and welcome. Welcome to another edition of the Ohm Service Live with me, Marky Mark from SoulOhm Reviews. Down at the bottom there, we've got Steve, the wonderful, the mysterious man of the written review. Steve, did... What? What? Eh? I'm not that loud. Well, you're not going to have your intro now. I was going to give you a really good intro there. I was bumping you up, so... Yeah, you've got BFG there. We've got the wonderful Betty Dilligaff Porter, the man, the legend that makes the wonderful stands. And we've got a very special guest, a very dear friend of mine that I've known for many, many a year. UK Andy, welcome to the show.
Good evening, Mark.
Right,
Good evening, sir.
So how's your ears? Your ears all right? No?
Yeah, getting there.
Ears are all right.
Fucking hell.
I hope so.
Well, I've turned that. I've actually turned my speakers down because that day, last couple of shows, I was like, whoa. But tinnitus for 3 days.
God, what are you going to be like when we go to the new Model Army show?
That's
Are you
different.
going to wear earplugs?
No,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's different. That's different.
Oh, what are you
don't-
saying? I'm not good enough now.
What? No, I just don't. You don't wear earplugs. Well, saying that, I have seen a lot of folk wearing earplugs actually going to gigs these days.
Yeah, I have actually. Saying that, when I went to see Metallica at Sheffield, I wished I had, because I was deaf for a fortnight.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, while we're on that subject regarding that, I mean, I know quite a lot of people have actually seen that post in the group. Unfortunately, guys, we were going to try and have like a Christmas. Where the hell did that come from? A Christmas night out this year, but obviously with the way things are going, and now we're possibly heading into more lockdowns and all the rest of it, we decided, well, it's pointless to try and arrange something for this year. So Steve, Mark and myself are going to see New Model Army in November next year. So if any of you guys that are out there in Chatland fancy meeting up, come to the gig with us, you are more than welcome.
I think it'd be awesome if we can make a big gang of it.
Yeah. And hopefully this will be the first of many.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, we normally meet up at expos.
Yeah.
And obviously, definitely, Expo is going to be off the cards. I can't see there being one next year either.
No.
At the rate things are going.
No. Maybe towards the October one, but certainly not. I don't think May will happen next year. I really
It's
don't.
sad because I've really, really missed not meeting up. Not the actual event. It's more the actual meeting up with my friends.
Yeah.
That
The
I've
social
so
side of
missed.
things, but that's what it's always been about to an extent, isn't it? It's the social side of things. I mean, it's great being on here. You're chatting about, you can chat to people, your friends on Zoom calls and stuff. But it's actually nice to meet up with everybody because we're all huggle monsters, aren't we?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I have missed my huggle from Bunny.
Oh, hell yeah.
And Gail. But especially Bunny. So how's your internet going, sir?
I refuse to answer that on the grounds I may get us kicked off YouTube.
That good?
Put another 50p in the meter, you'll be fine.
So, Betty, would you like to say hello to the folks in chat?
Oakley dokley. Let's get to the top. Okay, we have SoulOhm and we have Hephaestus. How we doing, bud? We also have Manic Stereo. Good evening. Paul Anderson. How we doing? Flashy 121212. I think I may mix that up as well. Chunk, how we doing, bud? Haven't seen you in a long time. Net Reality, Graham, how are we? Reno, the wife. Liz Koval K. Oh, cameras these.
Snuggles!
The wonderful Ronster, Mr. Ronnie Campbell. Mark H, good evening. Down. Andy Summers, how we doing? Keep going down. That's what she says. Ashley, good evening, Don. How are we? Black Country Vapor. Rachel, Uniform Ruby. Hi, how are you? Kirstine, how are we doing? We're getting there. Chris Doyle, good evening, sir. Hope you get your car back and everything is okay. Kieran, how are we? DE, how are you doing, sir? Thanks for joining us. Where am I? Mr. Mark G9, Paul Denby, Levi, Mr. UK Andy, our special guest. And I think that's us caught up. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us.
It's awesome.
Big Mooney slipped in the back door, so good evening, Big Mooney. Frank
Hello,
Nizer,
Mooney.
you there?
And don't
Master
forget...
Biker Simon.
Mods
Fist
and
bump.
pods.
Mods and pods and mods and pods.
Pods and pods.
Mods
Can't
and
miss it.
pods.
Tammy, good evening.
Ooh.
Thank you for joining us from South Africa. Sheboygan, good evening, dude.
Fist bump.
Reno, dude.
How come my chat? I'm missing half of them on chat.
Are you on live chat or old chat?
Yeah, I'm on a live chat. Oh, Big Mooney, hiya. How you doing?
No, I just slipped on the participants list, so if they've typed, they're on.
Ah, that's why I'm being the friggin' live chat, isn't I? Right, I'll remember that. I'll remember that for future. Total technical.
And Simon, for your information, yes, sir, it is. It will be coming up in the next couple of days. Just thought I'd let you know. The up and closely part of the XL has already been done. I've just got to do the physical review, face-to-face bit. So first coming out is the Oxford. I've got to get that one out first. Well, then you're next. Thank you. Orion Braces, big
Alan.
fist bump.
Alan,
Hello. Hello. So, I'm going to start with UK Andy. So, sir, what are you vaping on tonight?
Right, good question. We've got this, which is
better.
a go-kart with the Smodus bunker on top, and in that, I have some of that.
Cook's custard.
The minted custard. And then we have Goatback with the Goatback blade with the potato trot on top. And I'm on some of this stuff.
I want to try that. I really
Yeah,
do.
yeah. That looks really nice.
It's coil gum. Nice flavour, but you're going to be changing your cotton every 24 hours.
it's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Custard cream.
Yeah, it's the same company that does the Joe's Juice. Does the that one.
That's the one.
In the Jonesville range. I'm sure that they're a UK company. Are they from Nottingham or somewhere like that?
No clue.
I'll have to look into that.
I'm sure they're from Nottingham. I might be wrong, like, but I'm sure they are. So, little Stevie, what are you on?
Me or
You?
Betty?
Yes.
Me.
No,
Right.
Betty's Betty.
Yeah,
I is on the Boost Plus, and in that I have some very nice salt spearmint, which is just like basically vaping Wrigley's.
Ooh.
Something a bit different tonight. I'm just feeling a bit bunged up and miserable, so it's like, right, get out the spearmint. And we also have the hard-on. In my hand, I have a hard-on.
In the hard-on.
Thank you. And on top of that is the Ragnar in drip mode, and I'm currently destroying the lemon curd from Rochford Project. I've been sort of limiting myself, so when I get home on a night, I allow myself a couple of puffs, and that is absolutely stunning.
Well, it's like me. You know how I don't like mint. I love that chamois shake.
It's just like Moira mint, so.
It is so Moorish that it's just It's not an intense mint though, is it? It's just got that creaminess to it. It's lovely.
I have to thank Bunny and Bruce sent me over another bottle of the early mint.
Well, to be honest with you, it's virtually identical. It really is. That the early mint, and it was the early mint that got me to want to try the chamois shake.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got to thank them for that. So yeah, I do like the early mint.
Flashy, it's a curse, mate. It makes everything look small. And Andy thought he was going to bring the tone down. No, I beat you to it, mate.
So, Betty, what you on?
Usual. Change the camera and I'm not get used to it yet. The dry eggs with lick juice, drip dab, lemon sherbet and that, and I'm on my old faithful, the knuckle duster combo with some absolute mango passion in that. And that's all I've got this evening.
Mm. Right.
Chris has got a nice sell.
Yeah, I know, he's got a vert.
Met with a recurve dual with some lemon lush. Now there's a choice. Yeah. Big shout out to Bunny, darling, sweetie.
Extra huggles.
Extra huggles.
So, I'm on tonight. I'm on my Rogue with the OG Dead Rabbit with the, I forget which cap it's called. You know, it's them Challenger caps. And in there, I have got a Berry Roux, which is a berry and lemonade. Really enjoying that one. Also, on my billet box, in that one, I have got the lemon tart from Rochford Project. Also got my steamed crave, that one. I've got the jam tart, which I'm really enjoying it. And finally, not leastly, I've got the Oxford Origin X with the DC RBA deck on it. And in that, I've got Fry's cookie and cream. Get a bottle round there, Mark. There you go. And that's it. That's all I'm on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Paul Anderson, that's what my answer was going to be, but I thought it'd just be too much of a smart arse to say that. Tonight I'm on a chair.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm also on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Stevie froze? Or he's just pleased to see you?
Somebody screenshot that.
Ooh.
Oh, he's back. And he's not a happy bunny.
No, he's bloody not.
Big shout out to Mo Bro. Good evening, sire. And Graham says hello.
Hey, dude.
So, dude, are we going to chance you doing the news?
Let us chance us.
Okay, let me do the bumper then. Go for it, dude.
Right. For those of you that haven't seen, Australia seem to have lost a cog. This was brought to our attention by Paul, and it seems to have spread out over the internet. Basically, what the interesting gentlemen down in the Canberra Parliament have decided now is they're going to make nicotine-containing vaping products available with a prescription. Yep, you have got to get a doctor to sign you off. So sales of vaping products containing nicotine is currently illegal in Australia, and even possession is outlawed in all but one state. The law as it stands allows vapers to import up to 3 months' supply of nicotine with a prescription. But it's largely ignored by vapers and the authorities. Just 1 to 2% of vapers bother getting a prescription, according to Colin Mendelsohn. And most vapers import nicotine without a prescription, a practice that could earn them huge fines if Greg Hunt and his planned import ban take effect as scheduled on January the 1st, 2021. So his import ban, which was announced on June 19th, calls for enforcement cooperation between the Department of Health and the Australian Border Force. Yes, those guys you've seen on the telly punishing people for bringing fruit and various other naughtiness into Australia. and they would punish them with fines of up to 222,000 Australian dollars, which works out about 152,000 US dollars. So we're not talking a small amount, which is ridiculous. The proposal was originally intended to take effect on July the 1st, which was 2 weeks after it was announced. However, the outcry from vapers and sympathetic politicians, including, it must be said, some from Hunt's own party, have forced him to postpone the ban almost immediately. At the time, he said the import ban would take effect in January, and he promised a streamlined process by which vapers could obtain nicotine. I'm looking at that process. There is nothing streamlined about this.
No.
So, it's a 9-step process. So, the vapor or smoker consults the doctor and pays the fee. Then the doctor assesses the patient and discusses other options if appropriate. Hello, Big Pharma. So, if appropriate, and how you decide whether nicotine vaping is appropriate, I would love to know. The doctor completes an online form, which is for SASB approval. Yeah? So the government agency decides if approval will be granted. So you've already had to jump 2 hurdles. Yeah?
Mm.
So once you eventually get over that, which is probably going to be weeks down the line, the patient returns to pick up the prescription if it's accepted. And here's the clincher, a secondary fee may be charged. Yeah?
Ooh.
Then you go to the pharmacist. The pharmacist orders supplies from wholesaler, so he's not got it in stock. The patient purchases from the pharmacist with, it must be said, probably a generous pharmacy markup. Yeah? So you've charged two fees now, plus the prescription charge. Yeah? And you have to repeat that yearly.
It's scary. It really is absolutely scary.
It's crazy. I mean, if you're going to try and kill something by just making it so damn difficult, this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure pharma is bad enough. Yeah, there's some dirty tricks come out of pharma in America, etc. Now, when you're looking at this in Australia, this.
See, the thing is, though,
how bad the links are.
This was going to happen here back in,
Oh, yeah.
was it 2014? Around about there, before the TPD came in and all that lot. There was going to get vaping as a prescription here.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's what, £9 an object now if you
something like that. Yeah.
if you pay prescriptions. Can you imagine how much you'd be paying for your vapes?
Nothing in Scotland. Just thought we'd throw that in.
Mr. Porter, that's how wars start, dear boy.
Stop stealing my part. That was me.
So, Andy, what do you think to it?
But it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Australia, isn't it? Sign ammo.
Because normally the bedstead of what Australia comes out with, we're not that a million miles away from it. Believe it or not.
Well, I think the mentality in the UK is slightly different, I think.
Mm.
But there is differences, though. Is there not in Australia? Is it Western Australia is totally different? Their regulations of vaping devices, nicotine, is different from the rest. Is it not? Something I thought
That I
something
don't know.
along those lines. The Western Australia was slightly different.
Mm.
Hold my beer.
He's going to find out now.
Pint. What's that? It's a pint. It comes in pints. I'll have one of them too, please.
Right. Let's have a looky poo. There's a very good board if you are interested in this, vaping in Australia. And they have so much information, it's unreal.
mean, the thing is, it's ridiculous.
Mm.
It really is. I mean, it's a stop smoking device. End of the day, that's what it is. And
You see,
they're
I
just
always
saying-
look at Australia. It's sort of like, how can they control it? Because, I mean, let's face it, Australia is a blooming big place.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in the outback and places like that. How are they going to control it from there?
People just grow their own nicotine plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So in Queensland, vaporizers are classified as tobacco products themselves, and any form of nicotine is illegal. In Victoria, nicotine usage is only allowed if you hold a medical certificate, and they're about to roll that out over the country. I can't see anything for Western Australia.
See if I can find it.
I've spilt my pint. I'm ashamed. And just in case Annette's watching, evening, love. No, sorry.
I'm sure because it was a small video that I watched,
Mm.
and it was something to do with there seemed to be a split from both sides of the country, that depending on what state you were in, and I don't mean that in a physical state,
Mm.
but depending on what state you were in Australia, depending on how their vaping laws affected
Yeah.
the sale or the sale or purchase or whatever it was, you know, of trying to get your hands on nicotine. And I think Western Australia was slightly more laxed. I just off the top of my head now, I just can't remember exactly what it said, but there did seem to be quite a difference between the two.
I think Hunt's managed to steamroll.
Steamroll.
God.
We'll ransom him from $1 billion.
You do know he's actually effing and blinding at this present moment in time.
Yeah. There's things getting kicked all over the room at the moment.
Oh, bless him. He is really struggling. He's back. There you go. See?
Look at it.
Ooh.
That price said it all.
It says it all. Oh, bless your heart. There's nothing worse. Honestly, there's nothing worse. I always remember we did a show with, I forgot his name now. I mean, Knucklehead Vapes.
Yeah.
Ralphie. Oh, the internet was so bad that
correct.
day.
Yeah, I remember that show.
Oh, God. And there's no worse stressing about doing all that.
My vaping rate, everything is banned in Western Australia, but I can get it from Perth.
Ah, interesting. I can't understand why they've got such a big thing about it, though. I mean, they've really gone to town on it. Because they did a U-turn about 2 years ago. Because the NNA got into Australia, didn't they? Well, they did New Zealand first, then Australia. And they seemed to sort of like do a U-turn on it. And then all of a sudden they've gone back to being very anti-vaping again. With Mr. Hunt.
Fingers crossed, give it another few months and then they'll do another U-turn.
Mm.
To be honest, I will be very surprised if that happens.
Yeah, I know, but you can always keep your fingers crossed and hope, though, can't you?
But Canada's exactly the same, you know. Canada, 1 minute it's for vaping, next minute it's against vaping, then it's for vaping. And they keep on changing their minds all the time.
I mean, yeah, I know Canada, I think they've settled down a bit because the science has been proven now.
Yeah.
They were jumping at a lot of the ghosts that the States were throwing at them. But,
I mean, here's a quote from AFRA, which is the Australian Tobacco Harm Reduction Association. No other Western country requires vapers to have a doctor's prescription for nicotine liquid, let alone visit a pharmacy to buy it. The result will be that fewer smokers will be able to switch to vaping, a far safer alternative, and more people will die from smoking-related death. Sorry, more people will die of smoke-related death.
That's interesting what they're on about tourism. Now, I know we've had a couple of people come into a vape shop. They went to India. When they went to actually India, they took their vape gear and they were fine. But it was when they was leaving the country that they got all the gear took off them.
Yeah.
And I've heard 2 people say that.
And there was such a hoo-ha about it. And all of a sudden, the guy that brought in the vape ban was like, no, I never said that. I never said that. And they put the blame on the security guys at the airports. Absolute bull, because there was a letter appeared on the internet about a week after he's claiming, no, I never said that. And that's exactly what he told them to do. Confiscate vape devices.
And Marcus has just mentioned in Austria they can only buy vape stuff from an actual shop.
Right. Now that I wasn't aware of. That's interesting. Now, I mean, to be fair, is that a bad thing? Because we've always said, if you're going to regulate, do it from the shop.
Yeah, take it out of the convenience stores.
Yeah, I've always said that. Always, even in America, I've always said that they should. The easiest way for them to control it, to stop for youths, so-called, actually getting hold of it, is actually just have them in vape shops. Get rid of it, your corner shops, your garages and things like that, completely, and just, if you want vaping, you've got to get it from a vape shop.
Do you want to giggle, boys? According to BT, my download speed is 48 megabytes and my upload speed's 8.2. I should be smoother than the proverbial silk purse. They lie.
They lie. Well, talking about vape shops, I think that nicely goes into our main topic, which I'm going to put in now, the bumper.
Show us your bumper, Uncle Mark.
Right, guys, I'll let you guys kick it off first.
Well, it was a couple of weeks ago. I was speaking to Andy and Don vaping pasty, and Andy brought up something in conversation regarding Andy was feeling his age to a certain extent, due to basically experience in a vape shop. And Dawn basically agreed with him. She kind of suffered the same kind of thing regarding, shall we say, the older vapor, and in Dawn's case, female vapors, where you're kind of brushed to the side to a certain extent. If you get into a vape shop and it's run by the younger generation, shall we say, they're more interested in talking to their mates and dealing with them, because when they see an older person walking into a shop, they believe falsely that they're only in to buy stock coils for a multi-long device, a T18 kit, T22 kit, something like that. And this is why we brought Andy on to discuss and to let Andy tell us, his experience of the vape shops and stuff like that. And just to see if you guys out there in chat have had any of the same kind of things. Because what Andy's going to tell you, it's ridiculous.
It's a funny story, Steve, at the end of the day. I go into a local vape shop and there's a young lad behind the counter. First of all, I had to wait because his mates were in there and they were giving it always. And then he sort of looked and he went, "Can I help you?" And I went, "Yeah, I want some coils for an RDA." So he opens a drawer of stock coils and he goes, "What tank is it for?" I went, "No, it's for an RDA." "No, I need to know what tank it's for." So I pulls my kit out. I goes, "No, I want coils for this." Oh, that's advanced kit. Well, as Mark said when we were talking last night, he doesn't see this as advanced kit. I don't. So he says, "I don't think we've got any." Well, at that, the guy who owns the shop, who's in his 30s, opened the door, come in, and the lad said, "Oh, this this man's looking for coils for this. And he went, yeah, we got some of those. The lad didn't even know what the shop was stocking.
Mm.
So the guy's opened the drawer, yeah, he's got Demon Killer, he's got your normal, pre-built coils. But he had got some coils made by a local lad, which were really good. I did have some off him. Unfortunately, the lad stopped making coils. Another shop I went into, same sort of scenario, young people behind the counter, not really interested, just laughing and joking and all the rest. It goes in, the lad says, oh, what can I do for you? I says, oh, I've come in for some juice. Straight away, he shows me the 50/50 range. I'm like, no, I want short bills and nick shots. And he was sort of taken back. This is like stereotyping that older people use either starter kits or stock coil tanks, and that's it.
Yeah, and basically that's exactly what Dawn has said as well. She went into a local shop, looking for some liquid and coils, and after the guy behind the counter was chatting about his mates and stuff, he gestured to the same, to the cheap shitty 50/50 juice, and he says that's what we have. And obviously Dawn, as some of you guys know, Dawn normally vapes in a Titan. And basically she pulled that out and she's I'm looking for stuff for this. She's not in a starter kit, that's for certain. But it's the misconception from certain vape shop staff that they think that the older generation are just into buy stock coil kits and 50/50 crap juice.
See, from my I know my experience of being in a vape shop is very short. I've only been doing it a year, but the actual vape shop that I'm working in, I've been going into it since 2013, and I've never known that ever to happen. I mean, obviously you're not there all the time, but while I've been working there, when we get people coming in of various age groups, we always try and get a little bit of history. So if they're a new time vapor, you have them type, and then obviously you get people, you just generally ask them questions when they're saying, oh, I'm after a new kit or something like that. You kind of just generally ask to get that rapport going, what you've been vaping on, just so that you know in the back of your head roughly whereabouts they are in their vaping journey. Because you do get people that are just literally, it's a smock coil, or it's just a Atlantis coil, or it's a simple starter kit device that they're quite happy with. I mean, we still get people that are on like CE4s, that ego type. We still get plenty of customers that are still on that type of vaping. And then obviously we also get people that sort of like it's a mech and an RDA as well. So from me personally, from what I know of, that kind of thing has never happened.
Yeah.
But it goes in another direction as well. Our local electronics, the lady who sort of serves most of the time in there, she's middle-aged. I'd say she's in her 50s. She gets abuse from the youngsters.
Really?
Oh yeah. As if she doesn't know anything. I've been in there and there's no respect for the woman from the younger generation.
Well, it brings in this whole thing that if you're female, you don't know anything about vaping. Yeah. Sorry, boys.
Yeah.
You really need to grow a pair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You really do.
I can say for definite, the female, I'm not going to mention names, the girl that works at our shop, she's experienced that. We had a customer come in, and to cut a long story short, basically she was serving him, and he ended up coming to me because he didn't believe what she'd said, and he was very ignorant to her. So yeah, that female thing, I know that vaping is a very male dominated community, and it is you just have to go to somewhere like Expo, and the vast majority of people walking around are male. You can't get away from it. So yeah, I have seen that happen.
Right. When I first started on my mech and rebuilding journey, yeah, one of the first people that taught me how to rebuild was a woman. Yeah. That girl could coil with her eyes shut. Yeah. And yes, she wasn't the youngest young lady I've ever spoken to. But out of all of the so-called cat boys, yeah, she saw this noob at the counter struggling, and she gave me a hand. You know, and I've never forgotten that.
What about dealing with your coils?
Easy. I'm trying to do it. Yeah. I'm trying to be serious, and you boys are being smutty. There's no need.
I mean, the thing is as well. I mean, I can see where you're coming from with that as well, Steve. And I've got a similar kind of story, because it was a young lady who basically said it led me down a path to the DIY side of things. Because I didn't know you could do it, because at that point I didn't vape. It was Jules, obviously, coming off the cigarettes, and it was a young lady I used to work with. She says, "Why don't you make your own juice?" And I'm like, "You can do that." She knew all about that. I didn't. So I learned from her. And then obviously the rest is history, I suppose. But yeah, it's just that misconception, people walking into a shop. And I suppose, I mean, Andy will maybe agree or disagree here. When a person leaves that shop after being treated like that, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and people wonder why nobody goes to brick and mortar stores anymore. They'll prefer to order online, because they don't get treated like.
Because let's face it. I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? We've all been there, where it's so like you go into a vape shop, and it is an intimidating place. You see all these mods, and it is overwhelming. You see all these mods, you haven't got a clue what you're talking about. You feel an idiot already. You don't want somebody coming across being clever. You want somebody that's going to help you.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's what I always try. I try my hardest. It's not the big sale or anything like that where I work. It's so like I'm trying to help someone. And that's how we do it at our shop. You're helping someone. You're getting them off cigarettes.
I mean, I know there's a lot of the chain stores out there that they'll employ anybody. They only want a face behind the counter.
Well, I've heard a lot of people mention that a lot of chain vape shops employ people that don't even vape.
Yeah.
And they don't want them to vape. They don't want people to know about the devices. All they want is sales.
I mean, there's dons, but brick and mortar shops are losing out on a lot of money from older vapors because of the way they're getting treated.
Oh, not just the older vapor, but the women.
Yeah.
You know, I find it reprehensible in this day and age that there is such a split between the genders in the vape world. And there is. Let's be right. The bitches have faced it. Yeah. That's it's one of the best shows in the UK. And you there's still going to be a pocket of people out there.
Yeah, I mean, Jules got it as well. When Jules first started, she was getting messages from a certain person telling her, excuse the French, telling her off. That she didn't have a place in the industry. What would she do? And it was bloody ridiculous.
Well, this is it. And there's no place for it.
No,
for God's sakes, we're trying to stop smoking. We're trying to help other people stop smoking. Just because you've got a pair of balls does not make that you any better at that.
No.
Yeah?
Hold on.
I mean, one of the reasons why I've got the show, I do the reviews, it's to celebrate it.
Yeah.
I'm so chuffed with vaping. I really am. Not only because of it got me off the cigarettes, But the amount of wonderful and amazing people that I have met through vaping, and people from all over the world that I have met and spoke to, and people that I would never in normal life ever meet. You just, your paths wouldn't cross, but vaping has done that, and I think that is absolutely amazing. And I think sometimes people forget how amazing this thing is. I really do. I think they forget the rudimentaries. It's not about who's got the best mode, who's got whatever. We're all doing exactly the same. We've all got off of cigarettes that kill you.
I've just seen it as well.
Well, I missed it.
Right, excuse this because this may be seen as naughty, but balls are delicate. Once happen, you're on your knees. Look at what we do. We grow a whole human being. Vaginas are so much stronger. and then Bunny's put mine too, Bill. Oh, man. Oh, I love the way I freeze for a second and then it tells me my internet's on.
And he's froze. Oh, bless. He's really struggling with his internet today.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
It's especially now that vaping's come on a plateau, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's sort of like that older generation, and especially women, that they really need to be getting into the shops.
Yeah, because I mean, it's the hobbyist side of things now. I mean, it's majority of us, especially in here, we are the hobbyist side of things. So when we do get into a vape shop, we know what we're looking for. We do know what we're talking about. But when you get ignored, pushed to the side because their younger friends are in, and just being labelled that you really don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Do you actually pull your vaping device, whatever it is you're vaping at the time, out your pocket, and their chin hits the floor?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, you can run rings around them.
Oh gosh, yeah.
As you said the other night, Mark, you keep your cards very close to your chest when you get into like a vape shop and you don't say a bloody word. We're the same. Jules and I are kind of the same. But it gets to that stage where don't be condescending towards me. Do you know what I mean? We probably know more than you'll ever know to an extent. And then when you pull out a mech or you pull whatever it is out, and you just get you see that kind of light bulb going on in their head, thinking, "Oops."
Oh yeah, I've had that oops quite a few times.
Yeah. It's not just vaping. Let's be right. There's a lot of areas where this comes in. I mean, given what I do for work, I was in a phone shop. A guy was banging on that he'd lost a load of stuff off his phone, and the guy behind the counter was trying to sell him the recovery package. And I wasn't going to watch this guy get ripped off for 3 figures. So it was like, right, here you are, son. Try this. All the stuff the software I told him about was free. Yeah. And there was a couple of little hacks that I use. And the guy behind the counter immediately started trying to shoot me down. Oh, well, that won't work because of this. That won't work because of that. So I asked the one question the guy behind the counter hadn't asked. I said, have you got a backup on your PC? It's like, yeah, why? So there you go. You don't even have to consider paying that. Just pull it all back. Oh, well, how do you do that? I said, right, YouTube, watch that video. And he walked out. The guy behind the counter was pissed because I'd just lost him 3 figures. The guy walking out the shop is over the moon because he's not paying 3 figures. And if the guy behind the counter had been polite about it, I might not have, wouldn't have been as vehement about helping this guy out as I was. So screw him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just because we've got a few grey hairs, be we male or female, let's be right. We may not know about the latest stuff, but we taught you buggers how to pee.
Yeah, it's like sometimes the younger generation come across, oh, he's an old guy, he knows nothing, he's old-fashioned and this, that and the other. But if you're in a craft trade, you're young and you're learning a craft trade, it's an older person that's teaching you that trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
You see,
I'm gonna.
That's why we're called. Well, that's why I'm called. I'm basically called a journeyman.
Yeah.
Because I've travelled that journey, and it's my job to teach the younger generation.
Yeah.
I mean, something I was thinking about there just now, Matt. I mean, you mentioned it before. How many people you've actually come into the shop looking? I'm looking for a coil for that. What age group are they in?
Oh yeah, they're in your young age group. They haven't got a clue what coil they've got. They haven't got a clue what tank they've got. In some of them, they haven't even a clue what juices they vape. But before you go any further, you were saying about us. Once upon a time, many moons ago, the bloke who was managing you knew your job and he could do your job. That doesn't happen anymore.
No.
They go to university, they come out of university and they're at manager's job. And where the last place I used to work at, that was throughout. And you can see the difference. My manager that was originally at the quarry, he could do my job. He could do everybody's job in that quarry. When he left, they got a new manager in, fresh, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed lad out of university. Yes, he's got the education, but experience, I want to trust him to change a light bulb, let alone blooming run a quarry. I'm not joking, but that's how society has gone now. Whereas once upon a time, you started at the bottom and you worked your way up. No, not anymore. And I think that is the attitude across the board now.
Yeah.
See, I'm lucky in the area I work in. Yeah, we do still work like that. I've done the job that the people who work with me have done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got a lovely saying at work. We might have taught you what you know, but we haven't taught you everything we know.
I mean that's why jokingly I've put my name up as Betty Master Technician, because it was actually Chris Doyle whose car had been off the road this weekend for an MOT, and when he phoned up about his car, he basically said, well, the Master Technicians will get onto it sometime this afternoon. I thought, I'm stealing that. Master Technician, that's a joke.
Yeah.
You know that the lad that's going to look at Chris's car isn't going to be much older than Chris.
And he'll be holding a diagnostic box.
Yeah.
And all he'll do is plug it in.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, that I put Master Technician there because workshop wanker's just a bit kind of...
I used to have a poster in my Weybridge, and it was this nice, smartly dressed bloke in up PPE, so he's got helmet, viz jacket and all that, and he's holding a clipboard. And and there's this quote on it saying, "You're doing your job wrong. I don't know what you're doing wrong, but on my clipboard it says you're doing it wrong." Yeah, I got told to take it all down.
Sorry, mate. Vic, that's not being a master technician, that's being a bloody liability.
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. Well, and saying that though, I mean, you can't take it away from look at it. I mean, his office is looking really good.
Yeah, but it just proves one thing. Vic's very good at polishing wood.
He's getting better at tree panning it as well. Oh, bless. See, I mean, Vic has hidden skills. They're not hidden, they're just lower to the floor than the rest of us.
I'm joking apart, he's done a cracking job on
He
that.
has.
Yeah, it looks really nice, I've got to admit.
Yeah, I mean, getting back to the likes of, you know, as you say, Mark, it's you've experienced people throughout the years who have gained that knowledge. I mean, through all walks of life.
Yeah.
And you get the younger generation coming in thinking, yeah, you're just an old fart sitting in the corner. I know what I'm talking about. But they don't realise that you've forgot more than they'll ever know.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
just
Andy.
Just come in quickly. I know my daughter and her partner Scott and my two grandkids are watching. That's Zachary and Jim. Scott will always come to me if he's got a problem in the house or a problem with us. He'll always come and ask me, and I respect him for that.
Mm.
You know, I've got a lot of respect for the lad. You know, he will come and ask me if he's got problems.
But that's the thing. I mean, getting back to the likes of the vape shop thing. You know,
Yeah.
you kind of being treated unfairly because of your age. Some of these people younger people, I'll say, who work in the likes of vape shop, and it doesn't matter whether it's a vape shop or what the hell it is. Speaking to customers the way they speak to customers, you won't get any thanks for it, because a customer, you'll dishearten that person and walk out the door and never come back. Treat the customer with a little bit of respect, because at the end of the day, that customer will come back through that door again to buy some more of your products or whatever it is you're selling.
Yeah.
But treating that customer with respect, whether they're male, female, of the older generation, like we're sales guys, we can impart knowledge to them that they don't know.
Mm.
And then that knowledge is getting passed on again and again and again and again. It's the way of the world. It's the way it should work. But you do.
Top and bottom of it, it's down to respect.
It is.
And I think society has just generally forgot about respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect for one another.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about your age, your sex, gender, or anything. It's that general courteous of respect, and people just don't care. It's me, myself, and I now.
Yeah.
Mm.
It really is me, myself, and I.
And Chunks just put up an interesting bit. Devil's advocate. Yes, there are some really good youngsters out there who know their stuff and treat their customers well.
Mm.
We're not saying it's across the board, but unfortunately, it does appear to be rising.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the first questions I asked Dawn and Andy when we were talking last night, was it an independent shop or was it a chain? And I was honestly quite taken aback when they both said independents. Now, Andy did mention there's a chain, yeah, and that's where the lady who's been getting the grief works.
Mm.
But that chain model, I personally have a bit of an issue with those, because you're running it like McDonald's. There's a set rules, there's set targets, and you have to hit those. And that's where it seems the salesman comes in rather than somebody who's helping somebody to quit.
Mm. And there are shops like that. I mean, some of the people behind the counter, they are under pressure to hit targets. Mm. It's not to do with vaping, it's to do with selling.
It's profits over people.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not all how can you put it? It's not all the actual person that's behind the counter's fault, but they are under pressure and they've got to sell it in a certain way. It's almost like telesales where they've got a script and they've got to go through that script.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the chain stores, they do it like that. You are given a script and that's how you've got to go from there. And if you're not, then obviously you're disciplined. So, yeah, it's not all... You can't say across the board that everyone's like it, because they're not, because they're obviously different types of shops. But that is the general. They try to get people that don't vape at all, and they just go by a script.
But that's the reason that I personally feel that artisan shops are making such a big comeback. Mm. Because you do get that personalised service. You do get that customer service. Scripts are all well and good if you're using automated telephone menus. You know, we don't work off scripts. This show proves it.
Yeah, we definitely don't work off scripts, no. No, me neck.
No.
Oh, no, Mrs. No.
Speak for yourself.
Good evening. Here's the news.
Honestly, we don't. It says...
Yeah. There's a script, Bunny, but that's what happens with it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now, Chunk's right. It is about finding a good shop, and to be honest, I think the lockdown did sort out a lot of wheat from the chaff, because around here the shops were brilliant. You know, TVS were doing the mail order. It's Not Smoke were doing local deliveries.
Well, TVS
So
was as well.
Yeah. So you phoned them up, they'd be at your door, put the bag on the floor, 2 meters back, you pick your gear up. You know, it was superb. Gailey's just asked a question. How does Andy deal with discrimination in the shops?
Set the piece. Simple as set the piece.
Well, at least you don't get your keys out, Andy.
That's another story, but we won't get into that.
No, we're not going into
Go
that.
into that.
And can I just apologise to Andy's daughter and grandkids now? Because I forgot completely they were watching tonight.
You never heard that.
Yeah. No, I'll take the piece. If I start, I'll get it back and I'll pull like so-called advanced kit out. Advanced kit, fucking hell, you know what I mean? Excuse my language.
Chum, that's naughty. He doesn't slap them with his bus pass.
You know, is that advanced kit?
No.
But I think to some people who work in vape shops, yes, it will be an advanced kit. Because there has been a couple of shops that Jules and I went into over the years. I mean, there is one not far from here, and I went in looking for cotton and coils and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? For rebuildables. And the lad behind the counter was like, I haven't seen anything like that before in my life.
Then that comes on to a point. You've got people who are invest. They're investors. They'll open a shop. They're investing in the business. The vape industry come in. People could see it was on the up, so they invested in it. What they do, they'll set up a shop. They'll go and rent a little shop somewhere. They'll go to a warehouse. They'll get stock from a warehouse. They'll build a shop with that stock. They'll put a young lad in there, and they're hoping to make money that way, and they do.
Yeah, they do to a certain extent, but when you don't have somebody behind that counter who doesn't have the knowledge to help customers walking through that door, that shop will not last a length of time. And that goes for any kind of shop. It's not just the vaping; it's for anything. If you've got someone who's working behind a counter who is not educated on the products that they're selling or trained up in the products that they're selling, shop will not last. Either the shop will not last, or the person who's working or trying to serve you will not last. They won't be there.
Now, Mark's just brought up
I was just going to say.
cracking point. As a new worker in a vape shop, I'm finding some customers don't trust my opinion and feel under pressure, despite the fact he has a wealth of experience to share. Now, Bunny's just echoed that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. When I first started, we used to get a few customers in, especially in the workshop, because I was new. They thought I was green behind the ears.
Thank you, Scott.
But what I did was, obviously, I turned that around by explaining them things, and obviously over a period of time they realised that I do know what I'm talking about. But yes, that will happen. New face, people think that you've just gone into it and you don't know. You see, a lot of people forget. I mean, vaping has changed so much in the 9 years that I've been vaping. Now, you get people that's only been vaping for probably 3 years or 4 years. They've had it blooming easy compared to us that when we first started vaping. And they won't know the knowledge of how to build a coil when you're wrapping it around silica wick and things like that, because they never had to do it.
Yep.
The joys of the dry hit off silica. See these lungs.
It's like everything vaping's basically become plug in and play.
It has, yes. Oh yeah, I mean, let's face it. I mean, even stock coils are just plug and play now. You just push them in. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's brilliant now. I mean, for somebody that's coming into vaping now, without sounding like the blooming Yorkshireman, they've got it really easy now.
Yeah.
There's no real thought process having to go through compared to how it used to be, where you had to sort of like really think about what you was actually doing. Now, like you said, it's just plug and play.
Yeah. It was too much hands-on in the infancy. But as you say now, it's plug and play.
Yeah.
Take it out of the packet, stick it into the tank, and away you go.
Now, that's got its place. Don't
course
get me
it
wrong. That is making it a lot better for the starter. But for somebody who wants that little bit more, and there's plenty of us, you know, you're chatting to guys in shops, especially when you've got a mech in your hand, and somebody will come in with a pod and they're like, oh my God, what's that? And the conversation starts, and you can see the, ooh, I like that, you know, in the eyes. And you know you've got another one, you know. So, SoulOhm's about to go sit in his rocking chair with a walking stick and shout, get off my silica wig.
Get off my silica wig.
What's wrong with it?
It's better than, Bud, you finished. Sorry, Vic, that was naughty.
I mean, the vaping industry as a whole, I think honestly, it's come in leaps and bounds. And it's made it so easy now.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's been like that for, the last at least 3-4 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but, I mean, again, playing the other side of the fence, it's like Vic said, though, it's lost a lot of the character.
Mm.
You've got a pod. It's a pod. You know, and even now, these dual battery AIOs, it's a dual battery mod.
Mm.
You know, come on, boys, we've had enough. There's a place for it, but let's see something new. Yeah.
I find this industry absolutely fascinating. We're all doing the same thing, but we're all doing it differently. I've said it thousands of times that.
Mm. There's Mike Collins, Mike Mex, and the arrogance of the chain store has got 100 times worse. How dare a school leaver tell me I don't want this or that? I know what I want. Now take my money and shut up, you damn sproglodyte.
Sproglodyte.
I like that. Sproglodyte.
That's Firstborn's new nickname.
There's Paul Anderson's the same. He went into a vape shop with his mech squonk, and the kid tried to tell me I should buy a Juul as they're better. He walked out.
Really?
It's how to lose customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, at the end of the day, that's how to lose customers. And this is what I said earlier on. This is why a lot of people they'll spend more money on the internet buying their vape gear than going to their local B&M.
Mm.
Unless they've got a local B&M that they trust, that they have a good rapport with, that they know the people who work in the store are knowledgeable, like yourself, Mark.
Mm.
That is the difference. If you've got a store who's close to you that you know they're a bunch of numpties, you're not going to go back.
Yeah, of course you're not. No.
So,
I do, though. That's the good bit.
That was twice a week. Not once, but twice.
Mr. Crew, I wasn't talking about your shop. I wasn't talking about any shop in Retford.
I was just about to say, only goes to see the eye candy, Mark.
I told this story ages ago, absolutely ages ago. Went to a shop, it recently opened, I'm not going to name the names or anything like that. Walked into the shop, it was gorgeous. Absolutely stunning shop. They had the mods down this side, the juices, it looked really posh. And stood in the middle, behind the counter, was this drop-dead gorgeous girl. Oh, and she was gorgeous. Model. Walked up to her, I says, can I have an Ohms reader, please? And she goes to me, what's an Ohms reader? Yeah.
Says it all.
It says it all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw it at Expo, didn't we? There was a young lady on a juice counter. She introduced herself as management. And then she leant on the counter. And all of a sudden, this young lady turned into triplets. Mark and I, we didn't know where to look. It was just embarrassing.
Oh, we did know. We did know where to look. Sorry. I knew where to look.
But
it doesn't help when Jan was stood next to me.
it was trying to look without making it so bloody obvious.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have to, mate. They were there.
Yeah.
But is there really a place for that sort of thing? I'd rather talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about than feel embarrassed because somebody's got their chesticles sort of resting on the counter, you know.
See the next time we go to an expo, if and when there is an expo, I'll put my bollocks on the counter, right, and see what conversation that starts. I'll probably get thrown out.
Bloody hell, at our age.
Yeah, you get blocked, tackle it, lift the buggers up.
There you are. Scott's just put, I'm going back to the age thing. I know I'm late in the convo. I didn't know a thing about vaping until I met Andy, and I'm 31. He taught me mostly all I know. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, bless.
So, I mean, let's face it.
Hairy walnuts.
Age has got nothing to do with experience. I'm sorry. You could be a young 21-year-old and know everything about how to build coils and everything, where you can get a 50-year-old that ain't got a clue. Age has got nothing to do with experience. Especially when you're talking about vaping. If you're into something, so for argument's sake, you're a games programmer or you're a plumber. We had a what? How old was he? About 25. Replaced our boiler. I can't replace a boiler. I ain't got a clue. I won't know where to start. So it's so like age hasn't quite got full things to do with it. I think it's the actual people themselves and the lack of respect.
Yeah, I'd go with that. But I mean, the thing that annoys me is instead of just assuming somebody's an old gimmer, yeah, if somebody's got a few grey hairs, there's a good chance they've probably tried something, similar or have experience. So don't just automatically assume that because you're old.
Oh, totally. I mean, like my dad used to say, assume it's making an ass of you and me.
Yeah.
And it's all down to respect more than anything else. Because you'll find out that half the people that's behind the counter of a vape shop, you will definitely know more than what they do. Especially the people that we were talking to now, you guys, people in chat, for how long we've been vaping. That's just purely down to experience. So if they've only been vaping, for argument's sake, 2-3 years, we're bound to know more than they do.
I honestly don't know how long I've been vaping. I honestly can't put my finger on it. I know it's a right few years. I know the only shop in
Was it before it rained 40 days and nights when Noah built the boat?
I know Totally Wicked was the only shop in Wolverhampton at the time.
Bloody hell.
Blooming heck. But saying that, I remember the days where there were no vape shops. The first time I saw anybody vaping was in York.
I know how I started vaping. I went into went into Pan World or Poundland as it was, and they'd got the little disposables.
Yeah.
You know, your little disposables, and I bought a load of them for £1 each. I got through one walking across that back home, and I thought, well, this is all right. I hadn't bought any tobacco, and then I was going to go out and buy tobacco. I didn't buy tobacco. I bought these throwaways instead. I'd done one by the time I got across town, straight down to Totally Wicked, bought myself a kit, They put me on 18 milligram, which wasn't too bad because I was getting through half ounce of tobacco a day.
Mm.
They put me on 18 milligram. I went back a week later. I was getting head spin because I was constantly trying vaping on 18 milligram, and we bought it.
Was
down.
like I said to you the other day, I were on 36 milligram nicotine. Yeah.
I must have, I think Jules was on something similar when she was on the cigarettes for was it the electronic cigarette company? I think it was she bought them.
I was on my boat cartomizer, my Touchwood mech, which was a wooden mech, 36 milligram, and I was Sue Tobacco. It was what? Yeah, those were the days. You used to buy a pack of 5 boat cartomizer. You were lucky if 2 worked.
Bless you.
And do you remember your first hit of 20 milligram Nick Salt at Expo?
Yes, funny, I remember that.
Oh, congrats, Mark. 16 months stinky free.
Awesome.
Good man.
Well done. Well done.
Could he do 36 mil now? No.
No.
Kill him.
No, honestly, I could not do 36 now. No, definitely not.
The thing is,
I got sent some pods about 6 months ago, and they're 50 milligram Nick salts. I had 2 draws of that, and it was like, ooh, I need to sit down. I need to sit down. Ooh.
I mean, Jules gets me all the time if I'm doing a review with Jules, you know, especially on pods and stuff. Or the disposable ones like these, and you're sitting away, and she'll say, and you try it, and what do you think of the flavour? And I'm sitting like Marty Feldman.
Bill Richards, my first e-cigarette was a 10 Motives. And then I got from the 10 Motives, there's a Welsh company, they were called some Angels. It's now e-cigarette direct. And I got their version of the disposable ones. And then obviously I found the dark side and got into Max.
The dark side.
Got to have the dark side.
Welcome to the dark side.
Got to have the Max. Right, guys, we are coming up to the quarter 2.
Is it time to floof?
It's time to floof.
On already.
Yeah.
Floof.
That's what Pud does. Under the desk, Vic's nuts.
Well, we were, just in case we hadn't forgotten about the bottom draw. It was such an interesting chat. I didn't want to interrupt. So next week, this is what you can win on the bottom draw: the Aurora Play, the Target Pro box, and the payload kit.
Awesome.
So if you've got somebody that's just starting out on their vape journey, and maybe they're ready to upgrade a bit, might be worth entering.
We'll sort that out for next week.
Yeah.
Well, Andy, it has been absolutely brilliant. I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on, Mark. It's been brilliant.
Oh, we had such a laugh.
Yeah.
And thank you, Andy, for raising the awareness. You know,
No problem, no problem.
you both you and Don.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
Dawn as well.
Anytime.
And I think it's these are points that need raising.
Yeah.
You know, not just the age, but the whole misogynistic bit.
Mm.
You know, I know the girls sort of do raise it on the bitches, but you know, maybe it's time we started, speaking out a bit more about this.
Yeah.
Bugger it, I'm getting dressed up at the weekend, dress wig on, and I'm going into a couple of vape shops and see what they say.
Hidden cameras.
Yeah.
Hey, that'll be good. Hidden camera.
I think the beard might be a bit of a giveaway, dude.
Why? What about that? I don't know, you see some of the women that stay around here.
You're braver than I am, son.
That's why I don't go out much.
And Gailey says, pictures, please.
Yeah.
But Andy, yeah, thanks very much for joining us and and giving us, as I say, your insight into what has been going on. Chat once again. Thanks for joining us and keeping the show flowing with your own experience and things like that. This is why we do this.
Yeah.
Steve and Mark, what can I say? Love you to bits. Same time next week.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yes, please.
So, Andy, would you like to say your goodbyes, sir?
Yeah. Goodbye to everybody. Thanks for having me on. It's been absolutely brilliant show. Really enjoyed it. Can I just say one thing? We're in bad times. Some people are down, some people are out. Things aren't going right for them. How can I put it? They're not always in the best of places. If you wake up in the morning, you think to yourself, I've got the greatest gift ever, that is life itself, you'll have a better day.
Nicely put.
Nicely put. Like that one.
Well,
Thank you all. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
no, thanks for coming on,
Yeah,
man.
definitely.
Honestly, it's been such a giggle tonight. And a big shout out to Scott and is it Jenny?
Got Jen and two lovely grandsons, Jim and Zachary.
There we are, Jim and Zachary. Grandad's just giving you a shout.
Hello, Zach.
Give him a wave. Woo!
They're probably in bed by now.
Steve, guess who's just appeared in the back door?
The Lord of Lewdness, the God of the Gutter, the Saint of Sin is in. Can't do that without doing that.
No, you can't. You cannot have it. Oh, bless.
Bless you. Chat, thank you so much for tonight. You've been brilliant. I apologise now for the internet connection. There will be an interesting phone call coming to BT. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Especially with what they're asking me to pay a month. Stevie, as always, mate, thank you. Absolute diamond. Andy and Dawn, this for me was something that really needed bringing up. And Mark, as always, the gaffer, thank you, sir, for keeping our course straight and true. And I will hand you over to said boss.
Andy, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it. It's been nice catching up with you anyway. Missed you at Expos and that.
Yeah.
Betty, Steve, as always, thank you guys. It's been a fantastic show, and it's points that need to be raised. So like the things that we probably don't even notice ourselves. So I think it's great that we've been able to raise this, to the greater public. So, guys in chat, thank you so much for all your input. Honestly, it's been absolutely fantastic. You've been a great bunch. Spanners, thank you for looking after chat. It's been a really good one. So, from myself, Betty, Steve, and Andy, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Same channel, same time. So, are you ready for the white buys, everyone?
Bye, everybody.
Outro.
3 old farts in UK Andy. That's not very nice. No.
No.
You wait till you get twatted with that walking stick.
And